Initially, based on the scene, officers believed that there had been a fight. There were items knocked over, furniture overturned, and a payphone ripped from the wall. But when police went outside to investigate more, it didn't take them long to realize what had actually happened. At around 7:30 a.m., homicide detectives were called to the scene. A body had been found. It was a female, lying on her back, wearing a torn and muddy sweater and plaid skirt. There were a set of muddy footprints that led away from her body to the parking lot, and they ended when a set of tire tracks began. That day, an autopsy was performed. The body was Vicky's, and she had been beaten, sexually assaulted, and shot in the head with a .38 caliber handgun. Luckily, one of the bullets that killed Vicky had gotten lodged in the ground and could be collected as evidence. They also collected her clothes and DNA from the crime scene as evidence, but they were unable to gather much from the photos of the footprints and tire tracks, as the snowfall was so light and had mostly melted when the sun rose. Elizabeth PD was asked about the case just days after. They admitted that they had no suspects, but they did believe it was nothing more than a robbery gone wrong after Vicky put up a fight. They were certain that this crime was just a one-off, but EPD couldn't have been more wrong. Margaret Gill, known to her friends and family as Peggy, was a 24-year-old college student who was working as a night auditor at a local Days Inn in Indiana, just off I-65. She took the job to help pay for school, but in her free time, she was known to be a passionate baker and cross-stitcher, and she was described as soft-spoken, quiet, and shy, preferring the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift since it was a bit less hectic. At 12:30 a.m. on March 3, 1989, Peggy spoke to her manager on the phone, describing the uneventful evening, but she failed to call her manager again at 5 a.m., which was protocol for safety reasons. The manager found this suspicious, saying, "If it had been a different clerk, I wouldn't have thought much of it, but it wasn't like Peggy to miss a call." At exactly 5:51 a.m., the manager called Maryville Police Department to report Peggy missing. A couple of officers arrived at the scene just after 6 a.m., where they were met with some guests attempting to check out, reporting that no one was at the front desk. Peggy's car was still parked in the parking lot, her purse and keys were located behind the desk, and the lobby was pretty intact with no sign of a struggle. Because of this, when other officers began to arrive at the scene, they decided to hold off on containing the area as a crime scene. They did find that money was missing from the cash register, but nothing else was out of the ordinary. Police believed this was a misunderstanding, that they would soon find Peggy nearby, safe and unharmed. But when Maryville PD began investigating the hotel more, they found Peggy's body at the very end of a vacant hallway by a fire exit. She had been sexually assaulted and shot behind her left ear with a .22 pistol, and her uniform was found next to her body, neatly folded. Police lifted fingerprints from the cash drawer and desk, but they didn't match anyone with previous arrest records or any former guests or employees of the hotel. However, police soon learned that just 52 miles southbound of I-65, another night shift worker at a Days Inn was reported missing. About an hour after Peggy's body was discovered, this other woman, 34-year-old Janine Marie Gilbert, was found dead. Janine was a mother of two and recent divorcee who wanted a better life for herself and her children. She had recently enrolled at a local college and worked 2 jobs, bookkeeping during the day and part-time night auditing at the Remington Days Inn. Janine wasn't originally supposed to work the night of March 2, 1989, but she swapped shifts with another co-worker so she could attend the final high school game her daughter would be a cheerleader in.